Now, after match week 5, Tottenham Hotspur are third in the Premier League table. 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. 10 points from a possible 15. Thomas Frank has provided an injury update on Muani and Ben Davies ahead of the Doncaster game on Wednesday. Thomas Frank and the Spurs players react to the draw at Brighton on Saturday. Palhinha's fantastic stats so far this season. Former Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou has hit out at criticism and negativity. And a win for the under-21s and defeats for the Spurs women and the Spurs under-18s. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another episode of Tottenham News where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now, let's start by talking about match week 5. Now, of course, 7 games took place in the Premier League on Saturday. Liverpool 2, Everton 1, Brighton 2, Spurs 2, Burnley 1, Nottingham Forest 1, West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 1, Leeds 3, Manchester United beat Chelsea 2-1 at Old Trafford, and Fulham beat Brentford 3-1 at Craven Cottage. 3 games took place in the Premier League on Sunday. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle United 0, Sunderland 1, Aston Villa 1 and Arsenal drew 1-1 at home at the Emirates against Manchester City. Now, after match week 5, Spurs are third in the Premier League table. We have played 5, we have won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1. We have scored 10, we have conceded 3, we have a goal difference of +7. We have 10 points. Now, Spurs boss Thomas Frank seemed very happy with the point and the performance in the end at the Amex Stadium, rescuing a point after being 2-0 down. Now, Thomas Frank spoke heavily about mentality. This is what he had to say after Tottenham's 2-2 draw.
Thomas, thanks for joining us. Ended 2-2, came from 2-0 down. What were your thoughts on the performance?
I think the headline for me is mentality. I said to the players before the game, a game like this is pure mentality. Of course, we need all the tactical structure, details, all that. But to really want to achieve something, you need to be so strong here when you go away after the back end of a Champions League game that demands everything from you. And then we decided to really test ourselves by getting down 2-0. But just the way we started the game, wow. Coming away from home against Brighton, good team, and we just completely dominating them. And then out of nowhere, boom, they scored a goal where we can do a bit better, but also credit to them, and it's like this margin of offside. Then I actually think we keep going. And then out of nowhere, they scored the second one where, of course, I said it before, we need to do better, but it's been so good for us. It can happen, so we know that. A good finish. But the way we just kept going and actually control that game more or less from start to end. Getting the 2 goals, that I think is very impressive. So the mentality and the physicality of this team looks strong, intense. I thought that was us.
Sometimes stats can tell a little bit of a story, and one stat I'll throw at you is we had 44 touches in their box to their 17.
44, yeah. But I think that's a fantastic stat, and I don't even know the crossing stat was the same, so you can just see we were up there. And sometimes in a game like this, you score 4 goals because 2 of the cross just a little bit better, or we just run a little bit more clever, or a little bit more determined, or whatever it is. Today we didn't get the benefit of it, but I'm a big believer if you're consistent in our messages, if you keep doing the right thing, some games will just be fantastic. But I think overall, actually it's maybe the best game so far in the season.
Yeah, and someone actually messaged me just before Richie scored. And I actually replied, I said, I can't believe we're not winning, let alone 2-0 down. So, but to come from 2-0 down, to get that point, keeps the momentum going, Thomas, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree, and I think I can't remember all the interviews, but last year we were here and we lost 3-2 after 2-0 up. Now it's the other way around. We 2-0 down and get 2-2 in a very difficult place. Away game after the European. I think it just shows a lot about this group of players. I would have loved to win. Sometimes you need to take a good point and then move on.
Just before I let you go, a couple of players who weren't involved today, Ben and Randall. Any information on them?
Muani got a dead leg. Unfortunately, they kept him out of this. He actually been struggling with the last week. but it was just too much now. Hopefully available for Wednesday. Ben got a slight twist to the knee. Shouldn't be anything serious. Also hopefully available for Wednesday.
After Spurs drew 2-2 away at Brighton on Saturday, a number of Spurs players took to social media giving their thoughts on the game. Christian Romero said, buzzing with the fight the team showed today. We always want more, always pushing. Big love to the fans for the away support. We go again, together, always. Pedro Porro said, showed fight this afternoon. A point we take and move forward with. Thanks for the top away support today, Spurs fans. Destiny Udogie said, strong character shown from the team. Full focus on next week. All glory to God. Now, Palhinha said, really good reaction and fighting today. Thanks for the support. Midfielder Lucas Bergvall said, not the result we wanted, but we fought until the end. Thank you for your great support. And Javi Simmons said, proud of the team spirit. Destiny Udogie also added, I think that we were a bit unlucky with the result, 2-2 away at Brighton, but at the same time we take a good point away, so we have to look at the positives and keep building. To be 2-0 down in an away game against a good team is never easy, so it is a good point today and we showed a good character. From the first minute, we had a good start, we conceded 2 maybe poor goals, and then the game turned away from us. We showed a good character to come back. Spurs boss Thomas Frank has provided an injury update on Muani, who of course missed the game at Brighton on Saturday. He has also provided an update on defender Ben Davies ahead of the Doncaster game on Wednesday. Thomas Frank said Muani had a dead leg, unfortunately, that kept him out of the Brighton game. He was actually struggling with it last week. Hopefully he will be available for Wednesday, the Doncaster game in the Carabao Cup. Ben Davies got a slight twist to the knee. It shouldn't be anything serious. Hopefully he will also be available for Wednesday. Now, a very interesting stat here about Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Palhinha. No player has made more tackles in the Premier League this season so far. Palhinha with 19. 13 of them have come in the last 2 games, 6 against West Ham and 7 against Brighton. And another stat about Palhinha. No player has made more tackles in a Premier League game this season than Palhinha, 7 against Brighton. Now, former Tottenham Hotspur boss Ange Postecoglou has hit out. He has stated that he is surrounded by negativity since his arrival to the Premier League. He said, I've no idea why I am likeable. There has been a negativity around my arrival since I came to the Premier League, but it's a curious study in human nature as to why that is the case. I came from Scotland and there is not a great deal of respect given to the game up there, but my first year at Tottenham, I went to a club that finished 8th. They lost their greatest ever player in Harry Kane, and I got them 5th playing my style of football. It would have got them to the Champions League any other year. But unfortunately, that first year I had somehow doesn't exist. All that shows was that I finished in a poor position last season and my football doesn't work. Now, on Friday evening, the Tottenham Hotspur under-21s were in action away at Leicester in Premier League 2. The Spurs under-21s won the game 6-3 with Luca Williams-Barnett scoring a hat-trick. Also on Friday evening, the Spurs women were in action home against Manchester City. They lost the game 5-1 in the WSL. Olivia Holt scoring Tottenham's only goal of the game. And on Saturday, the Spurs under-18s were in action in the under-18 Premier League away at Southampton, and they fell to a 4-2 defeat. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode, and let's start by talking about Spurs being 3rd in the Premier League table after match week 5. It looked like we were going to be 2nd, and then, of course, Arsenal got that late equaliser, taking them just above us on goal difference. But we have 10 points out of a possible 15, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat. Thomas Frank, in the post-match press conference after the 2-2 draw away at Brighton, said that we have had 4 good performances and one bad performance. And I agree with that. I tell you what, a lot of people would be saying on Saturday afternoon, having been 2-0 down at Brighton, Spursy. They would have used that term. And I tell you what, grit, determination and real character and desire to come back and draw that game. Because I tell you what, when you look at past managers, we would have lost that game. You know, that is a difficult game away at Brighton. And under the circumstances, of course, I wasn't happy. I was at the game myself in the away end. And when we were 2-0 down, of course, we're not happy. It wasn't good enough. 2 poor goals conceded, particularly the second one. I felt that Vicario could have done a lot better. The first one, we should have been a lot better defensively. But of course, to come back and not only draw the game, I feel that we were very unlucky at the end, you know, when that full-time whistle went. I thought, you know, we should have won that because we had a number of chances in the closing stages, particularly when Javi Simons came on, especially in that number 10 role. Of course, the whole of the away end is now crying out, and I'm sure most Spurs fans around the world are calling out now for Javi Simons to be playing in that number 10 role. What a baller he is, a fantastic player. Cannot wait to see more of him. But of course, Thomas Frank does need to rotate the squad. I completely get and understand why he is rotating the squad. We have got games coming thick and fast. We've had a very, very busy week. Of course, West Ham last weekend, Villarreal in the Champions League. You know, it takes it out of these players to play high-intensity football like they do. The pressing is so intense. So, of course, he has to change the players. He has to change the personnel, and you know, this will continue, especially throughout this month and next, because as I said, games are coming thick and fast. But overall, in the Premier League, you know, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. I'm very happy, and I feel very optimistic under Thomas Frank, and I feel things are going in the right direction. I love Thomas Frank as a manager. I love his coaching staff. The communication is just second to none. They're constantly communicating with these players. Christian Romero is constantly communicating on the pitch as well, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And everyone looks very well organised. You know, to come back, like I said, you know, some people would have said, oh, Spursy, oh, we're going to lose this game, or not. You know, Dr. Tottenham, you know, I hear that term a lot as well. You know, I put a post on X earlier and said, you know, match week 5 over, Spurs are in 3rd place after match week 5, and we've got Wolves coming up next at home. Wolves have lost 5 out of 5. A lot of the responses were, oh, Dr. Tottenham will see you now. I tell you what, Dr. Tottenham doesn't exist anymore. Dr. Tottenham left when Thomas Frank came in. I'm certainly hoping so anyway. But, you know, we can't have any more of this Spursiness or Dr. Tottenham. You know, we put a trophy in the cabinet now in May, and, you know, we need to move on. We need to move from all this Dr. Tottenham negativity, etc. And, you know, we need to beat Wolves comfortably on Saturday. Of course, first up, we've got Doncaster in the League Cup on Wednesday. But that game against Wolves on Saturday, that needs to be another win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, another 3 points in the bag. But like I said, Thomas Frank will rotate this squad. He will rotate this team and give everyone minutes. Now, I felt about the Brighton game, we put so many crosses, and this is a real positive for me. We put so many crosses into the box from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Mohamed Kudus, what a baller he is as well. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see more of him this season. But, you know, all of these guys are working extremely hard to put crosses into the box, and it is very important to Thomas Frank. He's spoken at length about this in various press conferences so far this campaign. And he even said exactly what I was thinking at the Brighton game. Richarlison should have been in better positions on the pitch to be putting himself in a position to score. I personally am really looking forward to Cowlin Muani coming back. It's such a shame that he had a dead leg for this game away at the Amex on Saturday. And of course, Dominic Solanke is not that far away from coming back as well. So cannot wait to see them coming back. So Thomas Frank does have more options. But, you know, I love the fact that Thomas Frank is so honest in all of these interviews. You know, he learns a lot as well when things don't go right, and I love that. He's still learning a lot about these players. He's still getting to know some of these players, and I feel like week by week, I feel even more comfortable as a Spurs fan that Thomas Frank is going to get these players delivering exactly what us fans want. And if you'd have said to anyone at the start of the campaign, after 5 games would be sitting in third place with 10 points out of 15, I think most people would have said that is a pretty decent return. But when you are 2-0 down, a team away at Brighton, it's very difficult to come back, and Spurs showed great desire and great character to do exactly that. João Palhinha's stats are unreal, and I've said this on many episodes in the past, since he has signed for us on loan from Bayern Munich. This deal has to happen in the summer. It has to be permanent. This is the number 6 that we have been crying out for, and I love João Palhinha. I think he does a lot of the dirty work, and he is a real calming presence in our Tottenham Hotspur starting 11, and I think he is a fantastic player. Someone, perhaps... it could have been very different if we'd have signed him a couple of years ago, but what a player he is. Now, let's talk a little bit about Ange Postecoglou hitting out at the criticism and negativity. As I've said on this channel, and as I will continue to say, you won't ever hear me being negative about Ange Postecoglou. He delivered us that trophy. 41 years we waited for a European trophy. Ange Postecoglou is rubbing shoulders with Bill Nicholson and, of course, Keith Birkinshaw. One of only 3 managers to deliver Tottenham Hotspur a European trophy. And... he did exactly what he wanted to do. He said to us many times, he said to the media many times, and many people laughed about, I always win a trophy in my second season, and he did exactly that. But I do get it. I do get exactly what Ange Postecoglou is saying. I put this quote out on social media as well. And the responses, from a lot of Spurs fans, there is a lot of, how can I put it? Negativity towards the manager, a lot of sarcasm towards our former manager who delivered us a trophy. I'm not going to tell people how to feel, but it's just not the way that I am, because I'm very respectful that Ange Postecoglou delivered that trophy. I know some people will always go on about those 22 league defeats. Personally, I'm always going to go on about winning the Europa League trophy, because that was one hell of a moment in Bilbao. It was one hell of a moment and one hell of a day and evening. That parade a couple of days later down Tottenham High Road, it was incredible. Of course, Spurs made that decision. They decided to part ways with Ange Postecoglou, and now Thomas Frank is our manager. But I will always have the deepest respect for Ange Postecoglou delivering that trophy. And of course, he jeopardised his own job, put his own job on the line for, the Europa League trophy, losing those league games, because he definitely prioritised, playing certain players in certain competitions, because he wanted to win this trophy, and he wanted to give the fans what we all wanted, and that was a trophy. But yeah, there's a lot of disrespect towards Ange Postecoglou. I don't agree with it, but I know a lot of people who say negative comments about Ange Postecoglou. I don't need to agree with it, and as I said, I'll always have respect for any manager that we have had at the football club, especially someone who has delivered us success and given me some really, really special and great memories. Heavy defeat for the Spurs women on Friday evening. That was a tough one to take. Martin Ho didn't seem very happy when I spoke to him on Friday evening after the game. He wanted more from his team, and he should be getting more as well. And up to Friday evening, they had played 2 in the WSL, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. So it was a great start, but this was a real wake up in terms of the quality difference with the Spurs women and Manchester City women. Defeat for the under-18s on Saturday, and a great win for the under-21s on Friday evening, beating Leicester City 6-3 away. Luca Williams-Barnett is only 16. What a baller he is, scoring a hat-trick. I tell you what, sometimes players like this just need to be given an opportunity. Perhaps give him an opportunity, on the bench. Even if you don't want to bring him on, just give him that opportunity, because I feel like he has earned it. And, sometimes when, players are that good, they need the opportunity. Just put them in the team, put them on the bench, or give them the experience from the bench, because I tell you what, sometimes players like this deserve it and would absolutely love that experience of being on the bench or even in the starting 11. You never know. But I'd like to see Thomas Frank give a lot of players opportunities and game time, and I would certainly like to see him start integrating a lot of the academy players into some of the matchday squads, particularly when we're playing lower opposition, especially at home, especially against someone like Doncaster. And that is no disrespect to Doncaster at all. That's why I said that I think that if someone like Luca Williams-Barnett was given an opportunity, it would probably be better off being on the bench. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your week and I will see you again soon. Come on, you Spurs.